Okay, yes.
So hello.
We're ready.
And welcome. I'm Alexis. This is Andy.
Hello.
We did explain a little bit about the channeling. The two of them didn't totally know what we were doing
Yeah,
today, so that's kind of
heard that.
exciting.
Awesome.
So what we'll do, this is our first time doing this on a Thursday in the afternoon. Normally we're on Saturday mornings. Yeah. And yeah, it's a little bit different of a kind of vibe.
Nice, intimate gathering.
So the way that it'll go is we'll do a short meditation just to kind of get ourselves in. We're going to utilize the expansion principle, which is an energy healing technology that Simon and I bring to the planet and we attune people to and all that. Similar to Reiki, but different.
I have the book at home if you want to read it.
Oh yes, she does have the book.
She does. And she's getting ready to put out another book.
I am.
Did you write this one in a week too?
I did. But this was 3 years ago, and so it's just been sitting. So I wrote it the week that I launched the first one, because that's normal. Anyway, but then it just sat for a while, and so it just kept coming up that I needed to do it. And we're actually going to have a third book. I don't know, at some point. I won't say when. At some point, I have a kind of an idea, but that will be excerpts from all the channelings we've done for the last 2.5 years, and so it'll be compiled kind of like the Abraham Hicks books. It'll be like that. So I wanted to get this one done before I dive into that. So yeah.
Some fun things in the works.
Yep. So yeah, the next time.
A tissue, because I always cry.
So
Oh yeah,
30th.
and every time I always say I'm going to bring a box of tissues, and then I never do. Yeah.
So our next event here will be September 30th, and actually the book will be out by then.
Ah, yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them a little bit about maybe a teaser of what the book's
Sure.
about?
Yeah. So it's called The Art of Sacred Relating, and it's centered around the concept that we're relating to everything. Like we don't exist in vacuums. You know, when we differentiate from source and we're these individual consciousness, we are us because you're you. So there's this relating constantly. And so the book, the subtitle is The Primer on Being Human. So it is under the lens of being human, not just relating, you know, because you could do it for anything, but it's specifically around being a human being and what that means to relate to each other and the sacredness of that and how to do that. Healing, interpersonal skills, like all of that kind of stuff. It's a pretty fun thing. And your relationship with yourself too, because we relate to everything, not just to each other human beings, but to ourselves and to plants, to this chair. Like, you know, I sit because this chair exists and because it holds me. And so what is my relationship to the chair? So it can get a little out there, but it's really beautiful thing to be aware of the way we relate. And it, really augments our experience, I think. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay. So we're ready?
Yeah. The only thing, maybe give me a heads up because we didn't get a chance. What's the global question you want me to talk about? The 7 planets retrograde thing, or what you feeling?
We could.
Or we can just ask Simon what he wants to say, or
We could do 7 planets retrograde.
Yeah, am I right?
It's gonna be big, huh?
Yeah, I think it's 7 planets retrograde, full moon,
What I'm noticing
blue
is
moon. Yeah.
we have all that, and then there's additional things. There's a lot that's shifted, and I'm not the only person that's
It's
feeling
a lot
that.
going on. Okay.
Yeah, there's a
Can I ask you before we get started?
yeah.
The last 2 days, I felt really off. Is
Mm-hmm.
the only way I can explain it. Like,
That's what we were just talking about. Her and I were saying.
no,
this
like
too.
in my head, like
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
feel right. I don't
Yeah.
feel sick. I don't feel wrong, but something's off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I felt it starting Saturday.
Me too.
Yes.
Saturday
Me too.
was like the main part, and then I noticed a whole bunch of things, and then people from my past 3 years ago coming forward to me, different events, different occurrences, agitation, conflict, resolution, changing, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
my head is numb or something.
And it
It's just a
feels like
weird-
it did start Saturday. I have to agree with all you
Yeah,
guys.
Saturday.
It felt like that for me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
In for a ride, it looks like.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, so a couple
Buckle up,
things.
sisters.
I would go back
Man.
to I'd go back to the recording of last month's session here. It's on YouTube because Simon did talk a lot about that shifting and that the shifts are happening more quickly.
I feel like one of the sessions, one of our first sessions, talked about something with this, about there was going to be some shifts come fall. I think it was. I think he said it a few times, which is
I remember
interesting.
something like that, like in March.
Yeah, I feel like early
becoming
sessions.
individual, even though it's gonna affect the whole collective.
Yeah, and I don't have. You didn't bring your other book, right?
I didn't bring my
Okay,
other book.
that's all right. Yeah.
But yes, so my understanding is that it's not just 7 planets retrograde, and so it's all a combination of things that's happening, right? So my experience is that these external factors are here as an invitation for us to do something with, but we don't have to. You know, I can come to your house and bring you a cake. You don't have to eat the cake, but I bring you the cake, so it's like, oh, you want some cake? So it's sort of like that, and so it's these invitations are energetic invitations to shift things out. And how much are we able to do that? Now, some of that is happening subconsciously, just automatically, you know, and then some of it is happening more on the surface, like where it is beneficial for us to be aware and doing practices that are going to help move that consciously, you know. Okay. So it's a time to be meditating more. It's a time to be utilizing whatever modalities we have. There are so many, there's countless modalities. You know, we have the expansion labyrinth, which helps you move through things. We have EP transmissions. We have a bunch of things, but there's also, you know, you have emotion code, you have EFT, you have Reiki, you have like countless, you know, things. Yeah. But it's about connecting to some kind of something to help propel you forward, because we're having energies that have never entered the planet before, quite frankly. And that does sound crazy. I realize that, but it is what it is. And with these new energies, they are new invitations, and so our bodies aren't used to it, and your body is the conduit by which you're having your spiritual experiences and all your experiences, and so the body has to catch up with what's occurring for you. Right? And so that's where like that funny feeling in the head, that's where like just agitation. I was with someone today where they do have emotional highs and lows, but out of nowhere turns to me and says, I don't feel well. And the next thing is super angry and doesn't even, not at anything. There was absolutely no, you know, nobody cut him off. There was no, it was just all of a sudden it was, I don't feel well. And then this sensation. And so there's a lot of that. And it's how can we move through it? How do we let these things move through us? You know, how are you aware of the energies and how can you let them move through you?
Okay.
Is that kind of?
Because my head's going, something is not flowing.
Yeah. And
is it stretching perhaps us to be able to have the space to be able to hold it? So we're maybe kind of feeling this growth jump.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yep. And
it's kind of that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. And a
like
higher vibrational baseline. So your baseline is changing. So a lot of people talk about being high vibe and all this stuff, but really what we're doing is we're talking about the baseline. Where's your baseline? Not just having these spikes of like, oh, I'm elated, I'm joyful, I'm whatever. It's your baseline is increasing to this point of neutrality, you know.
Hello, come on in. Thank you. Yeah, so it's just expanding our capacity. How you doing? Our capacity to hold the energy that's new and changing and coming in, and I think that's why we're feeling the way we're feeling. So it feels uncomfortable, but we don't really know exactly. We can't put our fingers on it right now, right? But I think it's just that's the way I look at it. It's making our energy feel growing to hold that. Hold that coming in.
So that could be also a cause to create like congestion in a way.
Oh yeah.
So we're talking about how the last couple of days have felt kind of intense, and we're talking about how it isn't just the retrogrades. There's a lot of incoming energies that are they're different than what we've experienced before on the planet, and so some of us are used to it because we've been other things. So we're like, I know what this is, but we haven't experienced it in a human body. So the experience is different, even if it feels, for some people, you may have a sensation of home, honestly, but it's different because you're in this body. So it isn't quite the same, if that makes sense. So that'll be a part of what we asked. But we've asked, when was it? I feel like about a month and a half ago, the Schumann resonance went extra crazy. And I got all these text messages within 30 minutes from people saying, what's up? So it was enough for me to respond to, and I did a little live stream channeling with Simon. And what he talked about is that part of what was happening is that there's a purgative effect to these higher vibrational signatures, that they allow for these things that no longer are aligned with your new higher baseline vibration are being removed, right? And so that's uncomfortable. And we can feel it. It's like, okay, so what exactly is happening? And I think also when we say yes to walking a path of expansion, when we're saying yes to growth and all of these sorts of things, there's like that sovereign permission for like, okay, let's go. And so these things will be, there's a subconscious yes. And so there's a lot more to them what we fully understand is happening. So that's kind of what the idea here is to support that process and to give us language for it so that so our human feels it more easily, because when we feel like this, we can kind of freak out sometimes. The human's like, what in the world is happening? I do not like this, or whatever, right?
Yeah, I had a few different expletives in it, but
yeah.
going on.
Yeah, and then you have people who are sort of riding the line of the two-dimensional experiences, and not two-dimension, but two separate dimensional experiences. And people like that are sort of like, okay, this is just a human experience, and holy shit, whereas this is actually way more than that. And it's like that going back and forth, and that can be kind of uncomfortable too. Where it's like you're used to just the ordinary, you know, and then it's also this extraordinary invitation. And so that can happen sometimes with our loved ones. It can happen just with, you know, just with people. So you may be noticing that too, that people that perhaps haven't always been aware of the shifts all of a sudden they're kind of saying yes in a way they hadn't before, but they're confused because they don't know what the hell's happening, because it's not, you know, so it's riding that line of how we're experiencing and existing. And also, you know, with this, for lack of a better word, the ascension process is that we're not going anywhere. We're on this planet. It's this experience. It's what is our vibration. It's these bodies are going to hold something that they never have before. So it's that, you know, and these bodies are catching up to that experience. And when, you know, if you've heard of people refer to becoming crystalline, and like, what it doesn't mean we're actually going to become crystals, but it means that we can hold energetic information like a crystal in a way we never have before. So we're in the throes of what that means and what that experience is going to look like. Okay. So does that kind of? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just kind of have him talk about the 7 planets retrograde, the blue moon, full moon, how it's affecting all of us, that we're feeling angst.
I like that word. Yeah,
Okay.
that works.
All right.
Zara and Joshua, I'm very honored to introduce my husband, Aaron.
I'm so happy you're here.
Okay, so
Do you want to move it over a little bit more?
I think it's good.
Is it
Okay.
good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So are we going right into channeling, or are you going to bring us meditation, or should we just go right for the channeling? Because I feel like we're going right into Simon. I can.
What do you
feel it.
think?
Probably just go right for Simon.
Okay.
Everybody feel grounded enough for just shooting right
Well,
in?
let's do something real quick.
Okay.
Let's just we can close our eyes if we want to.
Okay.
We'll take a nice deep breath. We'll just do a little energy transmission, and you'll notice a beautiful golden light above your head. And gently coming down over the top of your head. The back of your head, across your throat and neck. Across your shoulders and arms. All the way down to your fingers. Down your chest and your back. This beautiful golden light covering each and every vertebrae, going down your belly, across your abdomen and low back, down your bottom and your legs, ankles and feet. Take a nice deep breath. This beautiful golden light is soaking into each and every cell of your body, allowing anything that no longer serves it to gently fall away, creating space for your most expansive understanding at this moment. And one more nice deep breath to anchor in. And we can open our eyes whenever we're ready. see you in a little while.
Hi and bye.
And yeah, we can just go through because there's just a handful of us. So
Yep, so we don't need numbers or anything. Yep, sounds good. While she is bringing Simon up, just so a couple of you guys know, if you don't have a question, it's no problem. You can just say, I don't have one. Or you can also just say, do you have a general message for me? If you guys want to say that, or if you have a specific message, you can ask questions. You know, if you don't know a specific question. So I wanted to fill a couple of you guys in.
We may begin.
Hello, Simon. Welcome to Janny Lou's. We are here with a group of people today that would love to hear some messages. And we would love to start out with asking about some of the planetary things that are happening around us. Our understanding is there's 7 planets in retrograde. We have a full moon, that's a blue moon, coming up. And we're feeling a little angst in our day-to-day experience. It seems to be heightened lately. Would you talk to us about that?
Yes, this is not the first time that these experiences have been occurring in terms of the retrogrades and the moon and all of those sorts of things, but it is the first time that it has been used as a large invitation for different collectives of beings to send additional energies in the support of the planetary shifting and of the individual shifting. Yes, there are many beings at this time that have incarnated in order to be able to assist. Yes, volunteers, if you will, in this way. There are some that are in this room at this moment, yes, who come in. And so what is important about that is that these individuals that are on the planet are also connecting with, if you will, their assistants on the other side, yes, that term that you like so much, yes. And what we mean is by other side in this particular case is in the non-physical sense, yes. And so there are many different individuals, meaning individual beings and types of beings and all that sort of beneficial cohort that is bringing energies, because it is quite helpful when there's retrograde movements in the planet. Your bodies respond in a more pausing way. The issue here is that you don't like to pause so much, and in this modern experience it is quite uncomfortable to have this pausing, so it can create there's also the aspect of there's also the aspect of the collective controlling energies, yes. There's that aspect that doesn't quite like for you to be so introspective, yes, but at this time there's a heightened invitation to do so, yes. There's a slowing down, because this is the nature of the beingness of your bodies in this form, to be able to slow down and to have this awareness of self, yes. And this is what the invitation is at this time, and an aspect of the ascension process, an aspect of you becoming more aware of whom you are on a soul level and on a consciousness level, as well as having these remembrances while you're in these physical forms. It is quite important to understand that you have more and more capacity, yes, to hold yourself, and these energies allow for that capacity to be increased. And what that means is you're having residual belief systems, residual emotions, and residual stories that perhaps were not quite energetically accurate for you, that are being moved through your bodies and moved out of your systems in order to allow for you to have more space, yes, more space for your beingness to come through. This is quite important, as it were, as there will be there's a moment that is coming, and it isn't quite in a moment in what you mean as far as it is 5 o'clock and in this moment it isn't quite like that. It is more of an expansive thing, yes, which it isn't quite a slow process, but it's a process that will be occurring. And in this way, what will be occurring is that there will be a massive amount of people that are becoming more and more aware of what they actually are, yes. And the predominance at this moment is that most individuals on this planet do not have a remembrance at all, and this percentage is shifting, and it is shifting quite quickly. So it is quite important for you, the individuals who are awake, who have this awareness of who and what you are, even if it is a primary awareness, a beginning fundamental awareness. This awareness is increasing and increasing, and the more you allow for that to increase, the more that it allows for other individuals to have that resonance of remembering. It allows to activate the remembrance of other individuals, yes. This is quite a different answer than what you expected, perhaps, but it is quite important to allow for the energies to move you, as it were, and for you to allow for the plants to support you, meaning the herbal things that can be quite helpful for you. Yes, there's quite a lot of things. Something that Andy speaks about quite a lot is supporting the adrenal system, which is quite helpful. But there's many things that you may be drawn to in the plant way. Some of the things that you do as well in the plant way in supporting the system, as it were, allowing for there to be the movements out as is necessary. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Is there any message you would like to tell us to, so you said for the herbal support, is there other support you could offer that we could be doing to help support our process along this way? Is there more besides the herbs and the plant medicine?
Yes, energetics. For those of you that are
Energetics,
expansion principle practitioners, being able to be activated, and the ones that are listening to this, and perhaps even share this with them. Alexis has contacts with them, and allowing them to be aware that it's quite important to be activated. Whatever modalities that you practice, whatever energetics that you practice, quite important for you to be anchoring into that. Yes, and it's quite important for you to be aware of the sort of energies that you practice and you become co-walking with. Yes, because that is what it really is. You're walking with the energetics. Yes, and it's quite helpful and quite important to be aware of what level of energetics is it. Is of the planet, or which is quite fine, but is also, are there energetics that are outside of the planetary and dimensional understanding, as the expansion principles outside of the dimensional understanding previously. Yes, and this allows for there to be a healing at a level that was unprecedented previously, because what it is doing, it is crossing the timeline understandings, which is quite helpful and quite important to allow for there to be a timeline changing. So this is one of the things. Alexis has some transmissions that can also be utilized for individuals who are not practitioners who can utilize this. There's also the expansion labyrinth that can be quite helpful. These are things tools that we have put out into the world that are quite helpful at this time, but there are many tools, and it is important for any individual to go to the tools that they resonate with most strongly. Yes, because each individual has their own resonance frequency, and this resonant frequency is becoming stronger and stronger. Yes, you're allowing for each of you have a lighthouse within you. Each of you have this ability to transmit information in a way that you weren't able to before, and so tuning into what is the tools that help you be most of yourself. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Okay, we have some questions from our group, unless there's anything else you want to add into that before we move to questions.
You may move forward at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right, who would like to begin on a question? Would anybody like to begin a dialogue at all with Simon? Yeah?
I will.
Okay, Tina.
Hello, Simon. I've been going through some health issues for, I don't know, about 8 months now. Some pretty scary stuff, but no answers. You know, test upon test, test upon test. And I have a couple big tests coming up still. But my question to you is, what is my question?
You would like to know if you will be quite fine.
Yeah, okay, that's great, yes.
Yes. Yes, there's an important understanding that the way in which the paradigm puts it, within the cultural understanding, there's this large understanding that symptoms are incorrect, that the body must only behave in a certain way, and anytime it does something outside of what is expected to do so, that we must squash it and cover it and make it be as if it was not there. Yes, this is not what you have an intention to do, but it is what you're taught to do. Yes, to be frightened when the body is not functioning the way it was intended to function primarily. But what must be understood, what Alexis spoke on before, and this has been spoken on many times, and it's the experience that she is having as well, and many of you may be having as well, in terms of the way that the physical form deals with the energies and the process of awakening oneself. Yes, this does not mean that you have to suffer in order to be awake. This isn't it at all. It's the relationship you have to what your body is doing. Yes, your body is experiencing many cellular changes. This is why there's not quite an understanding of what it is precisely. Yes. Yes, and what you need to do is speak to your cells. Have you done this quite yet?
I have not.
Yes, you need to speak to your cells. You need to speak to your cells and ask them what it is the way in which you can help and support them. And we would like for you to tune into the mitochondrial area of it, because that is where there's a lot of sparking and almost fluctuations. Yes, there are fluctuations because the rate in which they produce power is changing. Yes, and this is an aspect that is producing many of the symptoms that you are experiencing.
Okay, so in layman, I don't want to label it, but in layman's terms, it's kind of like a ascension sickness, or just my body is trying to adapt to the pace that I've been changing my vibration and ascending, and I'm having these very bizarre symptoms that no one can explain to me.
Yes,
a lot
quite
of them
simply,
are all
yes.
in my head, brain-like symptoms.
Yes, that is quite common. Alexis has had many of these things. There's the fortunate nature that she has had support to understand what it was that she was experiencing, and we were able to have the conversations around that she didn't need to be frightened about it, but it is something that she can discuss with you more for you to be understanding. This is why she made certain choices in terms of the way that she navigates these sorts of things, yes? But you must come into a relationship with your form so that you can know what requires further attention and in what way, and what are the sorts of supports that you need that can be most helpful for you, yes? Because many times there isn't understanding of the providers of understanding what is occurring, but this will be occurring more and more, and they won't quite, in a lot of ways this is happening already. They don't know quite what to do, so they put labels on it that aren't quite as accurate as we could be, yes? But in a way that was an understanding quite simply for you to bring peace to yourself, yes, with your experience. But for you to understand what we were in a complicated way saying about what particularly is occurring within your cellular structure is as if there is a powerhouse, as if there is a power plant, yes? And when there's a power plant, they take turns cleaning out the different areas. They take turns doing outages, if you will, yes? And they turn off one area in order to focus on another area in order to get the first area ready for the next area, yes? And this is in a way of what your cells have been doing. So they're firing in different ways that are quite unusual to it, which is producing some of the symptoms that you're having because they're preparing for these upgrades, if you will. And this is what happens in an actual power plant, is that when there are upgrades, it can't all be done at once, yes? It must be done piece by piece. But this doing piece by piece, it affects the whole, yes?
So I have a rolling blackout.
Yes, in a way. What is occurring, what your body is becoming more adept at, is not doing the blackout in the sense of that there is absolutely no power. There's limited power, yes?
Okay.
Yes, it's quite different than having nothing, yes.
Thank you, Simon.
Yes. Do you understand the way in which you will be discussing with your cells how to tune into your cells?
I do not.
Yes. So what you will be doing is you will be quiet and you will go into yourself, yes? And when you go into yourself, you ask, I would like to see my cells. And you would ask for, I would like to see the blueprint of my cell, yes? And when you see the blueprint of your cell, you will ask, how is it functioning? Is there anything I need to do to support you? Do you have a message for me, dear cell? Would you show me what it is that is occurring so I may come to more peace with what is occurring? Yes?
Thank you.
Yes.
Would you like more? Are you good?
Oh,
right
bring
now?
it, Simon, if there's more.
Any further words for her?
That is a completion at this time.
Okay.
Thank you, Simon.
All
Yes.
right.
The scaffolding can be quite helpful. This is something that
Okay.
can be discussed separately.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll make a note.
Yes, we may continue.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Who was feel comfortable? Yes, Maria.
Hi, Simon. I was wondering if you have a general message for me.
Yes. Yes, for you, we have a question that we sometimes have questions for individuals who come here, which is, would you like to activate yourself to the next step of your path? Because it's been quite time for you to do that and you haven't been doing it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is time for you to be doing that, yes?
Mm.
Yes. Do you understand the specific things that you need to be doing next that you have been holding yourself back from doing?
Yes and no.
Yes. What are the things that you are or have awareness of, yes?
Other beings, dream state, just like my cultural way
Yes.
of being.
Have you begun writing?
Not yet.
Yes. Do you understand that it's quite important for you to be writing?
Yes.
Yes. Would you like to begin to do that?
Yes.
Yes, that is quite important for you to be doing because that is how you move energy, yes? And that is where there's certain aspects of your life that you feel are stagnant, that have not moved in the way in which you would like them to move. Yes, they cannot move because you are not moving. So you must move so that they may move, yes? Yes. And then what is also quite important is for you to be quite clear with the environmental implications of the individuals that you choose to be in your space and the objects that you put in your space as well, yes? These things are quite important, but you know these things. Yes. You also know how to do a cleansing of your space, yes? Is this something that you have been doing at the frequency in which you know to be doing it?
Yes.
Yes. It is important to increase this frequency. Yes. There's a particular ritual that you need to be doing that you have not done yet. Yes. Will you be doing this?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, that is a completion at this time unless you have further questions.
Would you like further questions?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead and ask more questions. Sure.
So I do a lot of clearing and work for other people and land. And I've been asked to do that for a lot of different people in our area, but I don't feel like it's time yet, but I'm not quite sure.
It isn't time, or you're not ready of whom you become when you do that.
Probably the second one.
Yes. Yes. There's often the feeling of it not being time, because it is the mind saying what is not time, but what it really is the mind saying we would not like to do that quite yet. Yes. Because it would like to have control over the experience, but we know that that isn't quite possible, that it isn't the way it works, particularly when you're talking about energetics, and particularly what you're talking about soul missions and volunteerism onto this planet, and sharing whom you are. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, this is quite important.
How do I go about maintaining the protection of myself when working with lower vibrational energies? Because a lot of my work consists of that.
Yes, it is important to be tuning into what your baseline is. Yes. And when you do that, and you're aware of your baseline, and you're keeping your baseline at a certain level, you allow for yourself to increase the vibrational frequency that is moving through you. Yes. And as you move that, you are going to be doing that before you begin the interactions with the other energies and moving it. You want to be circulating and pulsating the energy of yourself quite quickly and more quickly and more quickly. And so that it isn't possible for anything else to penetrate, yes? So it is in a lot of ways, it isn't protection in the traditional sense, where all of these things need to be occurring and happening. And you may do that, of course, but it is your own energetics that will not allow for there to be a vibrational match to the experience, yes? Yes. It is different than, there's many changes that have occurred than in the old ways, yes? The earth that we live on isn't the earth that was lived on before, yes? Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You must continue, if it isn't clear, you must continue doing the things that you are doing, yes?
Thank
It
you.
is quite important, yes. We may continue now.
I wrote that note even though I didn't say it. I was going to say, but it is time to do it.
Thank
yes,
you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Who is feeling called next? Yeah, it feels like you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess a general message.
Okay.
Yes, it is quite time for you to be accessing the sacredness within yourself in a new way, yes? And what we mean by that is there's an aspect that you share, but you share it in a closed way. Is this clear?
Can you say more?
Yes. She knows what we mean. That you only show in moments, yes? Is she clear on what this means?
The not the last part that you just said.
Which aspect then?
The him that he only shows in moments.
Yes, this is exactly what we mean. You know that him that we are discussing, yes? Yes. What would be quite helpful is for you to tune into the way that you feel, Joshua, in the moments throughout the day. Do an assessment of yourself for 1 week. You like practices, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Do an assessment of yourself for 1 week and notice the vibrational changes, and you will be able to see yourself in a different way. And when you see yourself in a different way, you will see what we mean precisely. Because it's almost a fleeting moment, yes? And this is what we need to allow to increase. And when you increase that, it allows for a greater level of peace within yourself, yes? Because this is quite important for you, is it not? Yes. And you have been asking for a way to increase this even more, yes? And this is the way. And it is difficult for you to see because it is almost as if you're blind to this part of yourself. This peacefulness that is even more growing, that can grow and grow and grow, yes? Yes, you must feed that aspect, yes? Yes, this is quite important for you, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Would you like to ask anything else?
No.
Okay.
If there's any more, then yes, but
Is there any more message?
That is a completion at this time.
Completion. Okay. Susie, would you like to go? I feel like it goes over to you.
General, hi Simon, and can I have a general message, please?
Yes. Yes, the beginning of what we would like to say to you is that there is a great openness within you that has not been opened before. And this is quite lovely to be able to be experiencing this within your space, yes? This is quite lovely that the thing which you thought was not possible is occurring. There's this unraveling of the pain that is occurring in ways that you can allow the beauty of yourself, yes?
I'm not quite sure if I even feel the openness to it.
Yes, do you remember what it felt like 6 months ago? You don't think about that quite a lot. You just think that things are exactly the same as they were, but they are not. Would you take a moment to tune into what that felt like? What does that feel like in comparison to what you feel now? Does it feel the same or different?
Different.
Yes. It is important for you to have an assessment similar to what we just said, but in a different way. You want to be doing this periodically, being able to affirm to yourself that you are growing and moving, because otherwise all you are doing is collecting data and collecting experience, yes? And aren't actually having the awareness of the beauty of what you are becoming, yes? This is for all beings. What occurs to humans very many often is that you just are collecting and collecting and collecting and not an awareness of what you have become. Yes, it's quite important to have this celebratory expression of what you are in this moment and how what you are doing in fact is working. Yes, it is quite important to celebrate those things because it's quite difficult to be in these human bodies and having this sort of experience. And if you do not celebrate what you are and what you are becoming and how far you have come, there's a quite sadness that will happen in your form, yes? Is this clear of what we are saying?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, are there particular questions now that you have?
It's always funny how that one works.
Because we know there is.
It does piggyback on what you just said, and my question is, I'm trying to understand what is exactly happening with my relationship with my eldest daughter, because it doesn't feel like it's going where I was hoping it would.
The expectations that you have are coming from your mind, yes? You must tune into your heart. Allow for your heart to show you what the relationship is and what the purpose of it is. Why did you choose one another, yes? When you tune into that aspect, it is even greater than what you imagined it could be. You must let go of what you thought it would be to allow for the greatness to bring forward. This is quite true for everyone. If you allow for what the expectation is to be released, then you can allow what actually is, yes? Because your lenses will shift. And the way that you perceive an experience can be different, because until it cannot be different, it won't ever be perceived as something other than what you believed it could be, yes?
So how would you have your fear tamed where it doesn't affect what the heart is saying is supposed to be the way?
Does it seem as though the fear is correct?
It screams like it is.
Yes, but are you have an awareness that it is fear or the truth? Do you believe that the fear is truth? This is the important aspect of this. It is important for all beings to tune into what the vibration of fear feels like for you and what the vibration of truth feels like for you. Yes? Once you know what the vibration of truth feels like, it becomes a lot easier to not have to simply follow the human mind, yes? Remember that the human mind is a tool for you, yes? When you have a vibrational prowess and being able to navigate energetics and frequency, you're able to have an understanding of what is what and put it in its correct places, yes? so that you can feel what it is. You can feel, is that actually fear? Is that the truth, or simply the human being and its functions? Yes.
Makes sense.
Yes, you must release all of those expectations. This is quite important. Allow what is actually true. Is she not a beautiful being?
She is.
Yes. Allow for that to be the truth and follow that. You aren't here for her to be your daughter. You're here for you to be her mother. Yes. She does not owe you anything. This is quite important. When there's the expectation, you are taught that that is the way it goes, that the child is here for the parent, but that is not the case at all. The parent is here for the child. Yes?
Yep.
Yes.
That clarifies a lot.
Yes. Yes, we may continue.
Any other questions at this time?
Can I just ask if I'm supposed to hold up on this question or not?
You may ask a question.
It feels as though I'm supposed to ask what my origin is.
This is an understanding that you need to come to. We have said this previously.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Would you like to have an idea of how to come to that understanding? You want to ask?
Oh,
maybe
she
that?
knows how to come to
so
it.
you
It is
know?
yes, she does know
Okay,
how to come to
okay.
it. It is that she is not believing what she is experiencing, which is why it is not our place to tell her. She needs to know it's the truth and say, "Oh,
Wow.
Simon, I know what my origin is. This is my origin. Oh, Alexis, this is my origin. I would like to share it with you." Not, "Oh, I wonder." No, you do know. So you must have that heightened vibrational understanding, as we just spoke a moment ago, about how to understand and discern frequency. Yes, you know what is truth, and once you know is truth, there isn't anyone that can say anything, whether they are in form or coming through the way I come through. Yes. You know what that means. You must have this understandings of the vibrations. This is why it's very important to understand frequency and vibrations. Yes.
So what I've been taught so far is something I need to continue practicing, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. You got it. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yes. All right. Okay. Any question? You want to do a general? What do you
Sure.
think? Okay. Gonna have a general.
Hello, Simon.
Yes.
My name is Aaron, and I'd like to ask you just a general assessment.
Oh yes.
And possibly what I could do to better myself.
Oh, there is a very long away hurt that is there. There's a very long away hurt that is there. That must be released, yes? Are you aware of what that is?
No.
Yes, this is a long away. This was at the age of 3 and continued into the age of 4. Do you have an awareness of this?
I do not.
There's much movement within your experience in the way that there is a distrust that formed in a way, yes? And there is a great sadness. This was a simple thing. This wasn't a large thing in terms of if someone else was looking at it, because what must be understood is that our experiences can be small and also large at the same time, yes? What is also important is that there is this particular sadness comes in previously. Just a moment. This is not an ancestral way. This is from previous iterations that you have had. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
Yes. Are you aware of which iterations these are?
I have not.
Have you explored your iterations?
I haven't.
This is the invitation for you to explore these iterations of these experiences so that you can see what your, oh yes, it was playing with the toys. You had, it activated an old memory within you. You were playing with the toys, yes. You were playing with small toys, yes. And it caused this sadness because it caused a remembering, yes. But it was a far larger remembering than a small little boy could understand, yes. Yes. Would it be quite all right if we shifted some of this at this moment?
Sure.
Yes. We will be doing energy on your body. Is that quite all right?
Yes.
Yes. You may take a deep breath. Have there been any experiences with the left foot?
spraying it quite often.
Yes. Yes, this is a residual experience, yes. Yes, it's quite an invitation for you to explore the way that you would explore history, but explore your own history, yes? Yes. You can allow for this to come up in dreams if you would like, or you may explore this in many different ways, or meditations that you may do. There are very many different ways that you may explore this when you're ready to explore this. And there have been signs for you at times when you have an understanding of a certain time period that has brought to your attention, yes?
Yes.
There are time periods that you are quite drawn to, yes?
Very much so.
Yes, this is quite important for you. This is where that sadness is, yes. Yes, you must explore this, and the joy is there as well, yes. Yes, you must do this. This is quite important. Is there anything further at this time?
No. Thank you.
Yes. Is there an understanding of the way the two of you may exchange energy in a way to support the growth that you are both experiencing?
She's teaching me.
Yes. Yes, you may exchange. This is quite important to be doing that, yes. Yes. Yes, that is a completion at this time. We may continue.
Thank you. Okay, Zara, you are up. Do you have some questions?
I always feel like when it comes down to the moment, I go blank. So I would say just whatever, Simon, if you have anything to share with me, I'm all ears.
Yes, there have been particular things that have been on your heart, decisions that you would like to be making. Yes, the beings have been coming to you more, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, all the beings, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that are personal to you, and also the beings that are for you to work with, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, it is time for you to begin to have those conversations.
Okay.
Yes, do you understand what we mean? Oh, it makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yes. Is it because you're afraid of how it will be perceived and what that can change for your life?
Yeah. Could be.
Yes. There's
a block. I don't know how to see it or move past it. I don't know.
Yes, how to move past making the decision, yes?
It feels like I have a lot of doubt that still is around, or even though I receive the affirmation where I have the conversation and I'm like, this just happened, and it just feels, there's something that's stopping me from putting myself out there.
Yes, you know what it is though.
The word that comes to me is judgment.
Yes.
That's what it is.
That is an aspect of it, but the other aspect of it is that you were taught that it was incorrect, that you are just a make-believe, yes?
Yeah.
Yes. Coming into a relationship with what it means to make believe, yes? To see everything as it is often, some individuals do not like this when you're able to see beyond what is on the surface. It makes them uncomfortable. So the way to control the situation is to tell you that that isn't the way it is. And so what occurred is that you created this system, this veiling over yourself to keep yourself from producing the things that caused the person to tell you that you were incorrect, yes? And it's time to remove that veil from your system, yes?
How can I remove this veil?
By recollecting that you are sovereign, where you always have been. Do you understand what this means, to be able to do this within the core of yourself? It is almost as if you press your on switch, yes? There have been many instances when you operate with allowing others to wield your sovereignty. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it is time for you to remember that you have been the one who's given them permission the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It is yours. Begin to wield it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Your power will astound you, but it is quite beautiful, and you do have the capacity to hold it. Yes.
Okay.
It is quite important for you to continue. And it's quite important for the two of you to understand that this was not an accident in the meeting of each other. Yes. And the difficulties that you on occasion have is quite all right if we discuss this.
Yes.
Yes, the
I-
difficulties that you have will often have to do with the mechanisms that you were taught to control you. Yes.
Mm.
They aren't true, and so it feels as if it is, and then there's this story that spins out, and the perception of what it is quite uncomfortable and isn't quite factual many times. Yes, but it appears that way. It feels as if it is. Yes, all of these things were placed on you to control you. That it's time to remove all those things so you can actually see what is true within the relationship. Yes.
Mm.
So you can allow what is the most highest, the way that you are here to exchange energy in a most high way. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There is an activation that you provide for one another, and it's simply being able to learn how to do this with a softness without it being that is you, not that sensation. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
More like, oh yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Is there anything further?
That's all. Thank you.
Yes.
I would like to ask a general message for Janny
Yes.
today.
Yes, there's an alignment that she is coming into with herself, and also very many things. There's a fear at times for what would happen if things shifted even more, yes? But there are particular choices that have been coming forward for her, and there's also, she's invited to continue to dream. To continue to dream the dream. This is quite important for her to dream, not just when she is sleeping, but when she is waking as well. To continue to dream and allow that to know that it has been on her heart for quite some time because it is quite important, yes? Yes.
Is there more?
That is a completion for her at this time.
Okay.
There is quite a lot to be said to you, but we will not be doing that at this time. This must be done soon, though.
Okay, I was just getting ready to ask if I needed a general message, but yes, all right, we'll have some conversations.
Yes.
All right, that is complete for our group today. Simon, thank
Yes.
you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Simon.
Thank you, Simon.
Hi.
Welcome back.
So
Very
cool.
powerful. Very powerful.
All right, how are we doing? Anything that we want to touch on, move through?
Would you like a tissue?
Oh no, I'm okay.
Okay.
Oh,
I
she
want to
said-
I
deep
like to
in
let
it.
it just go.
I know.
Right?
I
Me too.
didn't want to go off camera, but I was like, she needs a tissue. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Who would like to? Would anybody like to talk or maybe have?
Well, it felt like you were crying for her.
questions?
For him.
For him.
I think she knew exactly what someone was saying.
Yeah,
'cause
you
that
know,
was that
okay.
was pretty powerful. I
Yeah.
loved your message, Erin. It was great.
And you almost didn't ask for one.
And what?
You almost did not ask for one.
No. It's just
Yeah.
been observed.
I think
Yeah.
the pure magic is that he showed up today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Sometimes all we have to do is show up.
Right. I have no idea what's in store.
And be
And
brave
show
enough to
up.
hear it, right?
Right.
I know. So you're like, do I want to know? Do I not?
Yeah, and to not even fully know, right? Like, oh, she told me, yeah, I'm gonna go. Okay,
Yeah.
and you could. There's a million excuses you could have made. Like, I don't know, I want to go home and take a shower. I've been out, like, you know, it's all these things. So, yeah, thank you for coming.
I don't know why, but he reminds me of Arthur. Like, it
Yeah.
feels like, was there a lot of doubt or like questioning about this whole?
I just came in with an open mind, and I know I need to make changes in my life, and this is the first step.
I love it. Oh, that's so awesome.
I really liked that he referenced time periods that you are drawn to. Do you have specific time eras that are really drawn to you that you, yeah. I thought that was fascinating because I was like, wow, that could really
And
start.
a whole nother lifetime, a whole nother thing, yeah.
Wow, so so you have that feeling about that there's something there with this lifetime.
We've been together before.
Yeah. What time? Can I ask what time frame are you guys like? Was there a certain time?
Medieval.
Medieval. Wow, I love it. Yeah, I felt like there was something really powerful when that was
Watch me burn
said.
at the stake. I know it.
Oh,
I've
okay.
known that since the day I met him. It was
Okay.
that.
Yeah. I felt like there was something really powerful in that statement, but I didn't know what it was.
I mean, that's where I'm my end of it. I don't know if that's his end of it.
Right.
Right.
That's my knowing.
Yeah.
We've
Wow.
been together before.
Yeah. Wow. Love that.
Is it okay for me to speak?
Oh, of course it is.
Oh.
Speak freely,
So
yes.
a lot of that too, I feel also has to do with a native part, planes, something that a lot of what I've learned in doing a lot of land and healing work here, due to just a lot of the history and more. So me being from the Southwest, though, I have a lot of connection here. And I noticed a lot of natives have a lot of connections here too, whether they're far away from home or, this is being their land and their home. And there's a lot of things that I'll just say that, like, while being here and growing up here, I saw myself here as like a young boy, but out in Weimar, so on the land where I was. And it came to me in just kind of like a open meditation, like premonition state.
Yeah.
And saw the land before and then now, and I knew that I was supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And so it can go from so many different time frames, but I feel like with you and your beekeeping and moving and going different places, there might be some areas of the land where you just feel it in your heart, you just know, or you have that. And those are, I take for me personally, as those downloads of part of that and some clues that help you along your journey and finding other ways to honor that part of yourself and previously more.
I think bees are definitely my calling because I could be in a bad mood or frustrated. I don't want to do this. As soon as I open a hive, that all changes.
Wow.
So part of that too.
I feel Reiki off of them.
They do hold.
Yeah.
Reiki.
They set me right.
Mm-hmm. They have the highest, they've actually measured the frequency that the bees emit, and it's a high frequency that's the same as measured as life source energy.
Before Tina was getting into Reiki, I just thought it was a Zen thing for me.
Wow.
Because I have coworkers that work with me and whatnot, and they're in different hives, and sometimes they get lit up. We got veils and stuff on, but when we're catching queens, we don't wear gloves or anything. We do have the veil, and they just get mobbed. That never happens with me.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
Zen with the bees.
Wow.
I love them.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll get into a pissy high, but nothing like coworkers sometimes really get lit up, and it's
Yeah.
like a big cloud of bees around them.
Yeah.
I think it's their energy is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said
Amazing.
Yeah, I was
something.
gonna say it's your energy
Yeah.
that
For
they
air.
sense that makes them feel calm, like the queen
Like you're part of the
Yeah.
hive. Yeah.
It has to do with the left foot.
Yeah. That. But
Was that what you were thinking?
well, Simon was talking about using energy work. I was
Yes.
wondering if he was referring to the bees, like more consciously, like exchanging energy with the bees. So
Maybe.
it's there, but then yeah.
Do you communicate with the bees? Have you thought of that?
No, not like that. I
Well,
just
that's
feel
the
like
message.
this.
That's part of the message.
Yeah.
I'm
It'd be interesting. It'd be
wondering.
curious just to see.
Yeah,
Might feel silly, but
I feel
it's
like
whatever.
Feel calmness with them.
Yeah.
I was gonna say subconsciously you probably do it, but transmuting that more into a conscious, energetic, you may notice a
Yeah,
little
like
different.
actually talk with them in your head, like thank you so much for this, or like actually have a relationship other than just being in the hive.
Yeah. Or when you have to go collect the queen, let her know what's happening.
Be grateful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll
That's
probably
okay. This
ask
is what
for
we're
them
doing.
to support and healing you too.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, use
definitely
these.
gonna
Play with it.
try that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Isn't
Yeah,
it funny
that's
to
neat.
like come over the odds of you becoming a Reiki and your partner joining today, and then
Yeah.
someone
it's pretty
saying,
cool.
"Have you guys
Yeah.
figured out how to exchange the energies?" It's like you're.
Yeah, we're figuring out. I
Clarifying
just
it.
gave him my first real session, and
Awesome.
it was just Saturday,
That's exciting.
That's very
Yeah.
exciting.
and it brought him to tears when I was done.
Oh, wow.
So there was definitely some shifting that happened.
I
And
love that.
I got a lot of emotional things I need to deal with.
Yeah.
So
Well, we all
Yeah.
are. Yeah,
Yeah.
we all are. Yeah, we are just.
That's what we're all here.
We're all doing it. Yeah.
There's
big
something
strong
really.
guy crying like a baby.
Oh well, that's the thing.
No, a real man can cry.
That's powerful.
That's powerful indeed. Yeah.
There's something really special in doing energy work. Most people don't have that privilege of being able to do energy work with your partner, but there's nothing like that. There's just it's a unique thing. Like it's just different from doing energy work on somebody else because you're exchanging energy in other ways, and so when you
It totally does
really
because
fascinating.
She knows me, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm not getting it done by a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different aspect.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
so,
And it's great to have work with whoever we're drawn to, but there's something really unique. Like with Archie, I've attuned Archie to Archie's my husband to the expansion principle, and that feels totally different when I've done attunements with him to anybody else. Like that just doesn't feel the same. The way my body responds is just a totally different experience, which is really fascinating. Yeah.
It's a whole different openness and vulnerability.
Yeah. And when we can be in a space where we can have those conversations, it's just it's really
I
interesting.
didn't ask you how you felt after. Were you exhausted
Oh
after
no,
the
it
Reiki?
doesn't work like that. It doesn't take anything from me. I'm just a conduit for the energy, so I just facilitate
Mm-hmm.
the energy to you. I don't pick up
She's
negative
receiving
feelings.
too.
Beautiful. So yeah, it's beautiful
Mhm. I
between you
love it.
guys. I love it too.
That's amazing.
Anybody else want to comment on their message?
I guess I'll comment on mine.
Yeah, please.
I noticed that I said yes to something where I was like, wait, I don't really know.
Mhm.
Like I have an idea, but I would have loved to, I guess, hear more from that. But
It's hard when you're doing it because you don't want to like take up all the time or keep asking the questions. But yeah, I mean, I just hang out with Simon for like a week.
Let's see.
So which part did you say yes to
I guess
that
it
you
was
were?
just on my work.
Was it the writing part?
I think it was the writing part.
That's what it
and-
felt like. I almost felt like you wanted to ask something right there, and I made a little like kind of asterisk there. Is that what you're
Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah.
Um,
Clarity a little bit on the writing part, and then I just guess my gifts because I'm aware, but in ways I feel like I'm still expanding. But I also feel like I've very much so shut myself off. So it's like I feel like although I know I don't, you know, and I'm still open to whatever.
Yeah.
maybe, so.
Yeah, with the writing, I think that you probably said yes because your heart knows. So I would just start playing, you know. Yeah, do you know that, like, have you written before or not really?
When I was younger, I used to write a lot.
Okay.
And just, whether it was just about my day goals, like ceremonies, manifestations, different stuff. But lately, I've just been kind of wanting to write just to write.
Can you keep a journal?
I do. I say I do, and then I don't.
Yeah.
Someone's 100 of them.
Yeah, and so a lot of it's been poetry to just about energy to just work, you know, I've done to
Keep
for
doing
others, including myself, and stuff that I say that I don't remember, and then people come back and they're like, oh yeah, this had happened, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't, it wasn't meant for me to remember.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you do. I'm glad it worked out. But you know, some things that have touched my heart to where I'm like, oh, I'll just remember here instead of writing it here.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm supposed to, but I'm just lazy.
Yeah, it's not laziness. I actually don't believe in laziness. I feel like there's always something underneath it. There's a reason why we do the things or don't do the things that we do or don't do. There's always something underneath it.
Yeah.
It isn't just because we want to just, it isn't that, you know. Yeah, there's more
There's
to
a
it.
reason why you don't want to.
Yeah, whether it's that we're in our way or is it for us, or there's different things. So learning with that pattern, I really loved how he said several times about the frequency and the vibration and understanding, because I think he said it to you, maybe felt like it was over here, and then to Susie, it felt somewhere here, about just becoming even more fine-tuned with what feels like you guys know, but it's creating.
And it
oh,
was
it
you
Tina?
too, though, right? You're talking about the energy of
Yeah, you can-
vibration of fear knowing the vibration of
Isn't it
truth.
funny when we read other people's stuff and we can't get our own message?
That's funny.
I want to say one last thing though to you before we get off onto a different topic. Write your experience. Have you thought about that? Like, you have an experience of what you're doing with the land. Have you thought about going and writing the experience down? Even if people probably be very interested in what your experience is.
Yeah.
When you're talking with the land, or you're doing the energy shifts with the land.
Yeah.
I almost see you having experiences for people to be able to do themselves. And maybe you'll see that through your experience. So I just felt like that's something that I wanted to share. You can take that, leave it, but that was just something that popped
That's
up.
beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know, I could see it. Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, that'd be something
TikTok
I know I'd
videos.
be really interested in. I love that kind of stuff. So yeah.
And I love the idea of just like a book,
Yeah.
because a lot of that too,
Yeah.
I notice is not just been land, but then just the people and then the new people that would come through. And then sometimes I haven't even worked with land, just people.
Yeah.
And mostly realizing, they're open to, what they've allowed, the type of energy they've allowed in that has also kind of hasn't meshed well with theirs, and then kind of attuning that and moving that. So
What you're doing is powerful. You should definitely write it down and share it. I think a lot of people would be very interested in it.
And a lot of it's just from, my native experiences and from elders and different people, and then I'm just learning along the way
Mhm.
from different people that I meet outside of my culture, outside of my way,
Yeah.
outside of just everything else. And it's just, it's funny, my experiences and how they all kind of meld together, and how people, will know things, and you don't know they know, but you can feel that, and then
Yeah.
they just kind of plop that in front of you, and you're like, oh, okay, thank you. You don't say anything, you're kind of like, oh. But I mean, I don't, but
Well, it sounds like you were raised in a way that you were very in tune with your culture, and you're able to. There's a lot of people that weren't raised like that, and they would be very interested if that was something that your culture feels like it would want to share. I don't know if some of it's very private and you wouldn't, but
and that's the thing that I've been trying to talk with elders more about, and my father, about sharing this, because a lot of it is so kept
yes,
within our
getting
people,
lost, yeah.
or just
Yeah.
people closest. And I always want to, especially where I work or anywhere I go, is saying, if that calls to you as well, there's a way you can also use that as part of your modality, but understand, that can't, I don't know, there's a lot of
yes,
and I'm sure you understand
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
it's like trying to create that, but also wanting to share, because my aunt would always tell me something. We're here to remember, which I loved that and Simon had said that, because I heard that so much growing up, and part of that confliction for me was seeing, Wasichus use our ways in ways that only benefit them for the greed, and as we would say, like the black road instead of the red road. And I never understood that, and I took it as like, we're here to remember, why is it being used in this way and not that way? And she was like, well, that's part of their journey. They're here to remember, and you may not understand it, but there's that. And I used to get frustrated with that until I got older, and then I understood, and I understood that it goes further. It's like the connectivity, of that, and it's not, I don't know, it's not just that, but yeah. And so
Love
I
it.
love that.
Wow.
So I
Thank you
will
for
definitely
sharing
do
all
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
you've got me sparked up. Put my name on the list for that.
Can I just say something, Cambrian? Watching you grow up from this little sweet.
Tina's known her since she's been little.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
was
know.
raised with my boys, and my mother was a dear friend of mine.
Okay. Oh.
Watching you grow, you're now an elder in training. I mean, you're on your way. No, I don't mean that as, you know what I'm saying? You're so wise. You're so wise, and now you're growing, and it's you're the next generation, sister. So have those books.
I
Write
will.
it down.
I will.
Share your beauty.
We need it. This world needs that.
Yeah.
Me too. We need it so much. Yeah. I take your mom's not here anymore.
Oh, she's here right now.
Yeah, she's with me always, but she's not here physically. I miss her.
Very special. Yeah. I love it. What is special? I didn't know the connection between you two. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Give me a second now to.
I know.
Yeah. Who would like to talk next about their message? Anybody?
would.
Yeah, Tina.
Since February, I've been having stroke-like symptoms, and I haven't even really shared a lot with my family. A lot of it I've just kept private. I'm terrified.
Yeah.
And every test keeps coming back. Everything's, you're in the box as normal, but things that are happening to me aren't. And so you try not to focus on it. There's no answers. The unknowing is more terrifying than if I was diagnosed with something. But yeah, it's really hard in the human form.
Yeah.
Life was way easier to star, I guess. No, it's really hard to not go there, and to not think. And then I'm thinking, and then I go, oh my God, I'm so powerful and good at what I do. Like, I don't want to manifest something. So I've been walking this really, really blurred line of what to focus on and what not to, and still be afraid. So thank you, and thanks, Simon, for the message, because it's been scary. And I go a couple weeks for an MRI on my brain, so.
Yeah.
Can I share something about that?
Mhm.
I think that's gonna lead you to places you've never envisioned or imagined, in the sense of like your growth in spiritual realm. That's how all of this happened for me. I was not to your extent, but I still have some body aches that no doctor can diagnose. It's like, it's there. Like, obviously it's not just in our brain,
Right.
but they can't say anything about it because it is, like Simon said, it's all like preparation of putting you to places where you would never know, like the Reiki. Next thing you know, it's something else. But it's all, it's gonna be fine. It's scary, but it'll be fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think big things are coming my way. I feel it, like, in huge things, but that is just a relief to not. I mean, I'm still gonna go through the test and play the game and do all that, but.
While you do that, holding yourself and what you know, and I think the message a lot here was to start playing with tuning to what the frequency, so what something feels like, and not emotional feels like, how it's vibrating, matched to what Does that make sense?
No.
So yeah, you might be able to translate Alexis here a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna try. I'm sorry, for a minute my mind went to how long was our time, and then I kind of blanked out what you said.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
assuming she'll
but-
come to be like.
Yeah. I was just looking at the time on the phone, and I was like, just trying to keep an eye. Okay.
She's trying to say what resonates between your body and your mind, whether you know what's going on with that part of your body or not.
And start to tune into what truth is, like vibrations of when something is safe, when it's not safe. So we can talk more.
So much.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
so
this
glad.
knowledge you dropped on me helped me so much.
So I'll say it more, a little elongated here, and what that's all about is you tuning into, whenever you have an experience, checking in, am I safe, and is this necessary? Because that's something that, for me, that's the thing that carries me. Am I safe? Is my form safe? Is my energy safe? Am I safe? And is this a necessary thing for my process? If both answers are yes, okay, let's go. And so that surrender is only possible with trust, and the two things like do the dance together.
Right.
And in that, the fear doesn't have any space to exist. It takes all the oxygen out of the room for it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because when you start to ask those two questions, if those things are true, then there's nothing to be afraid of, right?
Right.
You might not know, but it really helps when we don't cognitively know what's happening to us. But if we ask those questions and you can feel inside yourself that you're safe and it's necessary, okay, changes things. And so I'm glad you shared that it was important for you. But yeah, it helps me. And we can talk more if you want about my own. I don't think I wrote,
Scaffolding
Oh,
was
yeah.
brought up with
which
Simon.
we can talk about.
And I have 2 notes where you need to come see me when we're done about 2 things I think that you might want to explore that would help with your DNA changing and genes changing.
Yeah. Joshua
Okay,
would
yeah,
like
I
to say
think
something
Joshua's
too.
going to say something, yeah.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
So the unknown is not scary. It's what's scary is when we don't know, we tend to expect the worst. So we think because we don't know, the unknown is scary, but it's really we're expecting the worst because we don't know. So
Mm.
not being in the know is what feels scary.
Okay, I like that.
The unknown is just the unknown. And the unknown has a lot of miracles and blessings in it. Things that we would not ever be able to fathom until you get there. So I just want to put that out there.
I appreciate that.
Simon said to you about speaking to yourselves.
Yeah, I thought that was fascinating.
And I just wanted to talk on that because it's something that I learned a long time ago. And when I learned it, and I mean like maybe 15 years ago, and when I learned it, I began implementing it. And so you talk to your cells, you talk to your body, and you give it direction. And that's, I believe, part of what the message is really about, because the body is a system, it's a smart body system, and it has intelligence, but it's also on autopilot. It knows what to do. Each system has its functionalities and it operates. Circulatory, circulates blood, etc. But it doesn't mean it can't listen when we speak. And so this is what this is about, is when you speak to yourselves, and it's literally like that can be your meditation. You don't have to sit like this, although you can, and internally have that dialogue, but you can verbally out loud speak to your body and your cells. And that is like the meditation. And it's a great way to start to open up that dialogue, because your body will respond through sensation in various other ways. But to get into that habit, because you can reorient how your systems function. And I'm speaking from personal experience. There was one more thing, hold on. I forgot, it'll come back. But does that make sense?
It does.
Oh, affirmations, and there was something else. But affirmations are another way to talk to your body. Anything we say after the word I am, we are becoming. Well, we're really declaring it, and it's instant. So you can say I am healed, and it's instant. And then you can say, if you're having stroke-like symptoms, that's the third thing. And the doctors are not being able to diagnose it. Then probably 9.9 times out of 10, it's energetic. That's why they can't diagnose it. They can't find it because it doesn't exist physically. So if your mind, the part that worries, needs something to ease it, then go the energetic route and use, for example, the Reiki, and Reiki those symptoms.
Oh, I have been, brother. I have been ever since I got
Good.
into.
So you're doing work, right? But also, the stroke. When we think of stroke, what do we think about? What part of the body?
Heart.
The heart. So we start to make a connection. Okay, if it's energetic and it's stroke energy, stroke heart energy. How's my heart? Well, physically, I'm in the box, I'm safe. But how's my heart emotionally? How's my heart energy? And then you start to dissect it that way, approaching it from that energetic lens, right? So how's your heart doing? And that's rhetorical. But if there's ache, if there's sadness, if there's grief, if there's whatever, you discover like it's gonna kind of help you continue to pinpoint what the energetic symptoms are, or the energetic cause is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And then you can, it's like taking the seed out of the earth, but really you're able to pluck that out of yourself.
Thank you very much.
I don't know why, but I'm sunflower. I don't know what that means to y'all, but yeah.
Powerful.
I was gonna say that's really important too with the talk, and it reminded me of Grandma Aggie talking about, talking to your water. So maybe that would be a good thing too, is speaking to your water, asking for it when it, enters your body, to work with your cells, with all of that, and then just making sure, it's all that would be beautiful.
That's true too.
Sunflower. Not only is it my favorite flower,
Right? Yeah, on your foot, right?
She grew a bunch of sunflower and the deer just decimated
I was
it.
so sad. I've been so sad.
Mm.
But no, sunflower was even my bouquet at our wedding. I mean, it was just sunflower. So I think that's why I got the message, because my partner to be with me today.
Oh,
Yeah.
love it. Love it.
I bring her flowers. I always try to make sure there's sunflowers in it.
Oh, I love
She
it.
loves them.
Oh, it's amazing. Love it.
And that also goes to how I look at it as also the sunflower is very heart based.
Mm-hmm.
So really inspecting, that sunflower, the seeds, everything else.
Yeah, and Simon said something about the blueprint of my cells. Like that part went a little bit above my pay grade. Like,
I was
that.
thinking probably human design gene keys would be good for her.
Oh, she
Oh my
loved
gosh.
Gene Keys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been doing human design?
Earlier when you were talking about doing a workshop with like the tools and stuff,
Mhm.
I almost said, but someone had walked in and it took my thought went elsewhere.
Mhm.
I said, I have never done a human design class and I would love to learn that.
Oh, we were
I
gonna
was
do
literally
it.
gonna
We've
say
talked
that
about
a few
doing
months
it.
ago,
Yeah,
and then
we've
we
talked about
didn't
it.
do it, and
Honestly, I don't even know what it is or what it's
Yeah.
about, but it keeps coming to me. It's brought
Yeah.
up in conversation or I think about it.
Yeah.
Why am I thinking about something? I don't even know what it entails, but it keeps coming to me.
yeah, it's a really helpful tool.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I wrote down note-wise for you to tell you later.
Yeah, lots of stuff to talk about.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
Scaffolding
Exactly. We got
blueprints.
and
I'm
the
gonna be a construction worker now or an
Yeah, and the
architect or
scaffolding is
something.
really interesting too because that's
Yeah, hard hat.
Alexis's work. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Joshua. That was amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to share what she talked about because when she shared about like asking herself, is this necessary? Am I safe? Is this necessary? Was because I realized that I was getting hit with a lot of energy and I couldn't it was like making me like my mind was spinning and I couldn't seem to like it felt like it's like I couldn't catch my breath. It felt like I couldn't like get above, you know what I'm saying? And I had the conversation with her, and now when I start to feel these moments of that kind of anxiety within my body, that is the signal that I need to allow myself to ask those questions and then let go. And what happens in my body is like a seizure.
Okay.
And so people you know what I mean? You might go to a doctor after that moment and go, I'm seizuring right now. Why am I having these seizures? Is something neurologically going on?
It's funny you say that word because when my first episode that I had, I told after it was happening, it actually was after one of my first class with you.
Of course it did.
Yeah. It was it after you got told
It was-
you were the star.
No,
Because
that
I
was
thought that was maybe where it was coming. So I was
No,
like,
it
well,
was
that
actually
makes sense.
that was my second reading with her. This was my first, but I
okay.
was sitting in that chair, and all of a sudden, I just started feeling off. I started feeling funny, and I put my head down, and I went home and I rested, and so it kept, and I could feel it coming on. And I told my son later in the evening, he was down in California working bees. He's gone for a few months out of the year, and I had this uncontrollable desire to swallow my own tongue. It wasn't like, I wanted to. It wasn't like I was trying not to swallow my tongue. It's like my tongue felt really big and I just wanted to swallow it. Like I kept going, like I really wanted to swallow, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm fucking crazy now. What is going on? But my whole left side was super heavy. And when I was walking forward, for every step I took forward in my brain, I was taking a hard right. So I wasn't walking straight, but I was, every step, I was going right every time. I mean, weird stuff, like how do you even explain that to the doctor, you know?
Yeah.
And so just weird stuff like that. But yeah, the uncontrollable desire of wanting to swallow my tongue, that was pretty scary. But yeah, it even had a couple times where my eye would just droop like that. Not my whole face, just my eye. I could feel it coming on like a weird tingle. And then my eye would just like a candle melting, just like it would, and then 5 minutes later it's back.
Yeah.
So,
Your awareness is just catching up with what's happening to your body physically.
so I'm like,
Because
What?
you're
Say that again?
even your eyelashes. I mean, you're a
Oh,
straight.
that's right.
Like, we just see transformation happening in your
Right.
body.
yeah.
Of
In
all those-
December of last year, I had all black eyelashes, and they
Now they're gray.
all white,
Yeah.
just on this eye.
Yeah.
We're just gonna tell YouTube that we're not giving medical advice. Go see your
Yeah.
doctor. Do what you like to do.
Well, I get my lashes done. I'm very
And
proud of
also-
my fake ass lashes. And my lash girl, Tia, she was like, oh my god, you have a gray. And I'm like, don't tell me that, man. I got them everywhere else. I don't need gray eyelash. Every time I go back, and now they're full gray up and bottom. And she's like, you're a star child, that's whatever. I'm like, I didn't even know yet. She's calling me a star child, but I don't know.
In our native culture, we say when people have that shift and they go through certain things in their journey, especially with like what you're going through, your body, basically what they're saying, has a way of like trying to catch up, and part of that is through gray. It's like very Wonkan, it's sacred. That means you're like, I don't know how to explain that, but there's that to it. Because with one of my aunties, when she went through her journey, her eyes actually were gray. They turned gray. So we call her Cheryl Gray Eyes. But no, it's a thing. It's a thing. It's very powerful.
So it's an ascension thing, or just
spiritual experiences manifest in the physical body. Yeah, and it's really normal, like, for us to want to go get checked out and stuff. But the thing is that if nothing's being found, we also then need other language, right?
Wow.
Like I think you heard my disclaimer of saying we're not giving medical advice. But the thing about it is that unfortunately medicine hasn't caught up with the fact that, number one, science doesn't understand consciousness. That's the number one issue. And it won't ever, because it doesn't reside anywhere in a tangible way that they're going to find the brain part that's consciousness. And science doesn't understand consciousness. So right there, you have a huge gap in the understanding of the body. Mm-hmm. I mean, no one knows what animates us, right? In like a science level, in a medical level. So if they don't know what animates us, how in the world? There's just a huge gap. And also we're in a time right now still where the medical system is looking at the body as individual systems disconnected from each other, and also symptomology and covering symptoms so you're not uncomfortable, rather than the other pieces to it. And so
there's a light bulb shooting off my head. Anybody seeing like shit's happening? I'm hearing it. Get the memo.
Yeah. So
wow,
and then the nervous
fascinating.
system is the number one system that is going to be at the forefront of our expansion. So the nervous system it's what conducts electricity. So obviously if we're doing energy or like we're having energetic shifts, the nervous system is what's going to respond
And
first.
I've been increasingly more I want to say jittery. I don't drink coffee. It's not like caffeine, but like
You feel your vibration in your body.
like I'm always like feeling
Hi.
electrified.
It's normal. Welcome. Yeah.
Kindergarten. You guys are all in high school.
No, but this is
We're
why
learning all
gathering
the
and
time.
sharing and all of that is really important, so we can give language to our experiences, especially Simon talked about this as well, is like, this is why you're each being invited to take your work and do it even more. Like, don't stop. Like, you have to keep going, because the more that we do that, we're allowing other people to do the same thing. And it's happening really fast, and it's going to happen even more within the next 6 to 9 months. And so being able to walk that, to give people language for that, like if you all of a sudden have a rush of individuals having like neurological symptoms, immediately we're going to start like whatever, what humans do.
Yeah.
But really being a voice loud enough that, hey, maybe there's something else we need to be looking at as well. You do you, but also maybe there's something else, so that we're not afraid.
Oh, I love you guys.
We're going
We
through
love
a
you.
quickening.
Yes.
Remember Highlander?
Uh-huh.
I love Highlanders.
So we gotta chop off nobody's heads.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
This is so amazing.
Good.
I love my life.
All right. How are we feeling? You have something you wanted to share? No? You guys
Sarah,
good?
how about you though? You were the only person we kind of didn't talk about with your message before we wrap up. Is there anything you
The
wanted
two
to?
little quiet ones over here.
Yeah. Either one. Yeah.
Yeah. Will you can you give it to me again? What
Yeah.
you said? 'Cause-
Yeah. That you're having beings are coming around more. You
Mhm.
need to have conversations with them.
Mhm.
You're feeling block, and your block, the word you used was judgment.
Mhm.
And then I wrote a note, come into relationship with make believe, which I love that. I thought that was great. Remove the veil from your system. Remember, you are sovereign. And begin to wield your energy and you're here to exchange energy in a highway. Those were the basics I got out of it.
I know.
Thank you guys. I tried really hard.
I'd like to know my next when you're done.
Yeah, you're a great note taker.
Keywords.
Just like,
Oh yeah, we're
I'm just trying to come
Yeah,
up with
she
the
does
keys
great.
that.
I'm here to wield. Say that again.
Wield.
You need to begin to wield. Which I got the visual of like you holding a sword and that energy coming in, and you're holding that energy, and you have the strength to do that.
Okay,
But you were feeling like you didn't at the beginning.
gotcha.
So yeah,
And
that's
here to exchange energy. in
and
a
then you were
highway.
here to exchange energy in a highway, and there was a talk about you two exchanging energy.
Oh yeah, he was like borderline about to call them out, and so
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, Simon's not playing today. I was really feeling that. I was like,
He was thrown down.
I know it was going down. I was like, oh shoot.
You
Okay.
get called out whether you want to
Yeah.
or not.
it's interesting because we do these twice a month online as well.
Yeah, we do too.
And we have a lot of people. Most people have passes, so they come they come for a year, right? And so after a time, there's like this intimacy that develops, and so there's like more of that kind of energy. Oh, and with my husband, he calls them out all the time. Like it's hysterical.
Archie gets
He-
called out all the
time.
time. Yeah.
But he keeps asking for messages, so I'm assuming it's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
but
yeah.
that stuff's helpful.
The way it started was something around like a choice saying something about choice on my heart.
Yeah, that you have decisions
that's
on your
right.
heart.
Decisions on my heart.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Mhm.
part, I guess I was like, and I don't know. I think that's the thing is sometimes I'm like, yes, and it makes sense, and then maybe I'm just having difficulty in connecting with it. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's two parts of it. Part of it was like work stuff and expression, and part of it's like the personal piece. Like there's decisions on a personal level that you're making
Gotcha.
in terms of like you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just coming to that place of making that decision and then sharing it. And then what happens when I share, like this is where I'm at, this is what I'm feeling. Like, yeah.
Yeah, because it goes back to your message too, which was to access the sacredness in a new way, and that you knew that part of him,
And it's
right?
there.
Yeah,
I know.
and to make sure
Do
you
you?
access 1 week of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
read energetics and peacefulness.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he was really asking you to go back and dig in with yourself for a week and see where that fine-tunement was, right?
You were supposed to know what Simon was talking about. Talking about you two.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, yeah, so your two messages were, and it was several of looking at our energy. There were several messages over and over about us. Susie had that.
Becoming more
Joshua had that.
vibrationally fluent. Oh crap! I have a course on that, don't I? I haven't even. It just sits there.
Which
There's-
one? The vibrational.
What is it even called?
It just sits there. That's what it's called.
Like your 40 books that
the one that we're like to check in with ourselves and to do the fear vibration or the truth vibration. I'm not sure what course that is.
I don't think you've done it.
Well, maybe I haven't. I thought I've
I'll
done
have to
all
look.
of yours, but
I don't remember. I can't remember
okay.
what it's
Well, we'll
called
have to
right
go
now.
back. Okay, might be something to bring up.
It's
because-
there somewhere.
Okay.
It's I think it's on the Thinkific.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll make
But
a
it's on
note.
that. It's on mastering frequency and learning all these exercises on how to like fine tune reading frequency essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's not human design.
No.
That's something different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's more like energy.
Yeah, and
Recognizing your own
it's
energy.
that kind of thing is a very personal practice. It's you have to learn, but
Yeah.
there's ways to support that. Like there's exercises you can do and like start to match things up. So if I closed my eyes and if you started bringing objects in front of me, could I feel what it is? And it's not in a psychic way. That's a different ability. Like you're tuning into it in a different way, right? We're talking about vibrational language, like vibrational attunement, which there's an intersection there with psychic abilities, but it's different. We're using a different tool to.
It's reading energy signatures.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's
Wow.
weird you say that because when Tina did that Reiki on me, I felt vibration from her hands wherever she went. It was.
Yeah.
nothing I've ever experienced.
It's amazing.
And then she would just shed the negative off of me. It was just really powerful.
That's cool stuff.
Oh, amazing.
Good
Tina.
job,
Good
Tina.
job.
Keep going.
Go
Yeah.
Star being.
That's right.
All right, are we feeling complete?
Feeling
Yes.
amazing.
Thank
I'm
you
very
so
grateful.
much.
As
Yes.
always,